let's go into some fighting before we go back to some round ball sports.
Woo!
Yeah, I guess the big one, of course, was UFC 257, on the weekend, Sunday our time. It's interesting card overall. Did you want to bring the card up, James? Yeah. Before we get into the co-main and main event, there's the girls actually put on a bit of a show. Some nice competitive fights. What was the other one? There's another one that I wanted to look at.
Yeah, but that was a bit of a show. They were pretty. I mean, Dana White came out and said it was
a great card.
That was great. Yeah,
I think
they were pumped with it. I mean,
they did pretty well pay-per-view wise as well. I think they were going to do more buys than Gaethje and Khabib did.
Oh, really?
Which is
Well, you know, you got Conor on the card, so that definitely helps.
As long as no one was streaming, otherwise Dana was coming for you.
Yeah. So I think go with the main card. We'll stick with that. Yeah. But I think the first one, Rodriguez versus Ribas.
Yeah.
Quite an interesting fight. Ribas dominated round one and then actually gets smoked in round two by Rodriguez, knocks her out.
Gets up there.
And this is also, we should probably talk about Herb Dean in this one. The referee, if you guys know, amongst them.
Yep.
Having a bit of a bad couple of years with some controversy in the decision. Well, not in the decision, in his stoppages. Yeah. So not... let's go with positional play. Mm-hmm. His positioning in this one wasn't great. Yeah. He's rushed in, probably fair. Like Ribas was in she was in trouble, so she was going out. You could see she was losing.
So Rodriguez knocked her down.
She's
on the mat.
She's on the mat. Rodriguez is all over her, landing hammer fists. Herb Dean comes flying in, pulls up, but then he's kind of hovering over the top of them, and I'd say probably brushes Rodriguez. Yep. So Rodriguez gets up thinking, hey, he's stopping the fight. So she walks away, turns around, and Herb just goes, I didn't stop the fight. And Ribas, of course, in that time has stood up and she's there just, leaning back and forth. Kind of punched her.
Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
Frederick Tatum.
Rodriguez comes straight across.
Cactus is right.
So Rodriguez comes straight across, smokes her a couple more times, and then Herb's like, yeah, I'll stop it now. So had to knock her out twice in the one fight.
He has had a couple of them, Herb. He was the poster boy for the refs. Herb Dean.
Herb Dean.
He was definitely at the top. And then there's also talk, if you guys know Mario Yamasaka, who hasn't been reffing for quite a while, was by far the definition of the worst ref in the UFC. So I think Herb Dean's trying to take his title, so he's thinking, hey, I need to go back up and defend. Yeah, I need to defend my title as the worst referee in UFC, because I think Dana said he'd never ref again in the UFC.
Massive, because Herb Dean's done hundreds and hundreds of main card fights.
Yeah, well,
so had Mario, but it doesn't help. And Goddard's kind of been, I think they're a bit more in the spotlight, and people kind of now understand the sports and see
lots of money going in there.
See the mistakes, and then it magnifies it all. So but in this case, when the bird's clearly kind of out on her feet, though you fucked up your positioning, you probably could still call it off, so she doesn't have to take another 3 or 4 more punches.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Muradov got Sanchez in the third.
So the Mac, the Russian, I think Russian, or was he Croatian? I shouldn't fuck this up because the Eastern Europeans will come after us.
Russian. There's a lot of blue and red up there.
Mark.
But I think he had a bit of a layoff over the last year. He'd won 5 straight in previous in UFC.
No. That's
he's holding his flag up at the top.
No, go up. But that's
double flag.
One's Russian.
Dude, that's I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Azerbaijan.
That's wild. I'm gonna say Bulgarian.
No, there's blue on it.
Belarus.
Yeah.
There's blue on it.
I reckon you've tinned this here, Pep.
No. I was close. Tajikistan.
Yeah.
Oh god, the people,
one of the
people at home here on the edge of their seats here as Pepsi goes through the atlas and looks.
How How's this? According to Wikipedia, Tajik-born Uzbek Czech professionals. Why he's got fucking 4 flags?
No wonder he became a fighter. He came out with
down
punch
the bottom
anyone in
there
front of him.
looks Bulgarian.
Yeah.
As Borat once said, fuck you, Uzbek.
So, of course,
I thought we didn't get political on this.
That's Borat. Shout out to all our listeners in Uzbekistan.
So he was fighting Andrew Sanchez, and this Sanchez was sporting a luscious mullet in this fight. So you are worried about the mullet power, but in this, Mac just dominated realistically. It was definitely back and forward and got performance of the night, but Mac finished him off and just put him down. So it was big finish in that regard.
Huge knockout, yeah.
Yeah, and then the third fight, Jessica I coming back. She'd been out, I think, at least 18 months. Of course, didn't have a fight last year, versus Calderwood.
Calderwood.
Yeah.
Joanne Calderwood. Jojo as her nickname, who...
Big school, like mum vibes there, like school pickup.
Yeah,
mum
she
vibes,
does.
Less the tats. Less the tats, yeah.
So this was in the flyweight division, but she is huge.
Yeah,
She is
right.
really tall.
Peps, settle down.
Compared, well, maybe not that big. But
She's no Nunes.
yeah. So this is a pretty competitive fight in the end, but Jojo kind of took over. I started off well, and I think Jojo might have been a little bit nervous, but she took over in the second and third round, and then won this by decision. Took everything that I had, and then just started dominating. Just started putting her game plan, and she's big Scottish Celtic woman. Like she's,
Aye.
yeah,
Aye.
definitely got after.
I am blue.
Yeah, she speaks exactly like that as well. It's so good.
So I did an accent good for you.
She's actually like really softly spoken though. Like
Yes,
you
yeah.
wouldn't pick her as a fighter. She's like really quiet, sort of timid voice, but
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Come over here, smash it for Shania, bro.
But
definitely-
that's it with your accent. Sorry.
I was going for Scottish Pingu there, if anyone's seen that one.
Both very high in the flyweight division, in the women's flyweight division. So they'll be getting closer to title fights for Jojo in this one.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Hooker Chandler, what happened?
Co-main event, that one. That was...
Marks, run us through Chandler's background. That's probably the best way, because I knew the name. And last week when we were talking about this, it's like I know the name. Like it's pretty detailed.
Yeah.
There's history there. I just couldn't put a name to a face. And then when I saw it, when they explained his back history, it was like, oh, now I remember Michael Chandler.
Yeah. So, where are we? So he's been around. So he is a NCAA Division I wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Fought in Bellator for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Fought against the likes of Benson Henderson and Eddie Alvarez.
Mm-hmm.
Was
UFC vets.
Yep, UFC vets. Both won belts.
Yeah, Alvarez.
Yes, they did. They were both lightweight champions.
Both champs. Yep. And he was champ on and off in Bellator.
He was lightweight champ in that division when he left Bellator, became a free agent.
Yep.
Considered one of the most dominant lightweight fighters in the world outside, and probably one of the best fighters outside of the UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He's going on a run. He's 6-1 in his last 7 fights.
Yeah, that's it. So
But this was his debut.
Yes,
In the
debut.
UFC,
So
yes.
okay.
he
yeah, right.
signed contract with the UFC back in September last year. He was going to be the backup for the Khabib Gaethje fight. And then obviously didn't go ahead. So debuted today against Dan Hooker, and what a splash into the UFC.
Yeah, so
finish this one 2.5 minutes in.
yeah, so Mark and I watched this, and looking at Dan coming out, I don't know if he was a bit off or not. He looked a bit leaner than usual, so I don't know if his weight cut had affected him at all, or maybe a little bit in this. But he, and I guess on a big card as well, pay-per-view for him. Of course, a Kiwi, so he's in Abu Dhabi, travelled, the whole deal for that. He just looked off, and Chandler got him on the bike straight away. He was backpedaling a lot. Dan, of course, he had massive reach advantage in this. I think Chandler is 5'8" listed, and Hooker was listed at 6 foot, so a good 4 inches on him.
Yeah, he couldn't set that range though.
No, he just couldn't find his range, and then Chandler was on him, then threw a massive, big, like sweeping right hand just over the top, and just put Dan out straight away. Just knocked him cold. So it was a great finish. And then, very much announcing himself in the lightweight division. He's ranked, Hooker, of course, being 6. then after it, he cuts an excellent promo. He calls out Dustin, he calls out Conor, whoever wins that. Did he go after Gagey? I can't remember if he said Gagey, but he definitely called out Khabib and said, hey, if you want an interesting, fun fight, if you want a real fight, I'm here.
If you want to go 30 and all you get
yeah. How about you fight someone
come through me? Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So that then probably leads into the main event, which is Dustin's 2 and Conor being 4 ranked. Gagey, of course, being 1. And that must make Ferguson can't be 3. I think Ferguson's 5. Who's 3? Look that up. Anyway, on most people's scorecards, you probably say Conor won round 1. He looked excellent with his hands. He definitely touched Dustin up a little bit. Of course, nothing significant to put him out, but you could see the battle scars on Dustin's face after the fight. Like, he definitely got hit by some decent shots. Recognized a few of them. There was a bit, back and forth chatting in the ring. But Dustin, very much the veteran game, attacked Conor with the calf kicks. Really went after him with the calf kicks. And then in the second round, I think he hit him with like 12 in the first, or 12 in total, maybe like 10 in the first and then 2 in the second. But it hits him with this, I don't want to say it was a complete calf kick because it looks like it hits him more on the kneecap, but it just completely deads Conor's leg. To the point that Conor, once he gets hit, does about a 360 and then doesn't move off that spot. So then Dustin throws a punch and then sees Conor's not moving, so he throws another one. Conor's got no lateral movement. He's not going either side. So it's just like, he's right in front of me, and you're fishing the barrel, and he just starts wailing on him. Yeah. And Conor just can't fire anything back. Can't push off his legs. So Dustin just keeps wailing on him, gets through the guard, knocks Conor down, finishes it off. That's all she wrote, wins the fight. So
what is broke his leg in the end. I think the leg kicks ended up actually
I didn't see there's a fracture there. Yeah. What does this mean for both fighters? Does Poirier now get Gaethje, and what's the future for Conor?
Well, Dustin, the commentary after the fight was quite interesting. Dustin kind of seemed like he wasn't thrilled to be there. I think he loved the fighting. I don't think he loved the whole stuff that went around it. So his interview was a little bit interesting after the fight. I think maybe because it was an Abu Dhabi and dealing with that, of course, being an American coming across. Not a huge fan of that whole situation. He said in that post-fight that he thought this he's like, hey, this is 2 and 4. I think this was a title fight. I think this was for the belt. Because if Khabib's retired, then he's vacated the belt. So Justin, of course, lost to him. So it makes sense. Gaethje, of course, losing, Dustin winning this one. So it makes sense that Dustin, he's got that right there, former interim champion that lost to Khabib. It makes sense. So I guess if you want to make the next fight, probably Dustin versus Justin. The Poirier versus Gaethje makes sense as the next fight. If you want to keep Gaethje as number 1, so then 1 and 2 makes sense. But then you got Chandler, who's just knocked out 6, who, former lightweight champion of Bellator, looks great.
Everyone in the UFC.
But, as a comparison, Dustin beat Dan a couple of months ago, a couple of rounds deeper, and then Chandler's just knocked him out in the first. So as a comparative component, you can't do UFC maths is worse than our quick math.
But it makes no sense. It's not just slow; it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't. There's different matchups. It's always different. But
exactly right.
You can say that hey, maybe the Chandler's makes enough sense now for Dustin, or Dustin actually beat Gaethje not that long ago as well. So there's a revenge fight there. Those 3 will probably compete at some combination for the belt over probably the next year. I'd say each one of them probably fights each other. Maybe Chandler gets McGregor. I'd say probably not, because I don't think McGregor wants many wrestlers at this point. He'd rather, like, Dustin was more than happy to bang with him, use the cuff kick game plan. Really showed McGregor's maybe ring rust or ring experience, because he's only fought, I think they worked it out, it was Dustin's fought 8 times, and the last time McGregor's fought twice. Dustin talked about after this, I think it was it was Miller. Was it Nathan Miller? He had a fight against one of the Millers in 2017 where he got cut up by a calf kick. So he then included that in his game, knew that with Conor's wide stance and his boxing stance that he could attack that league leg, and Conor very much didn't know how to check that. And when he was checking it, he wasn't doing it well enough. Like, he was still getting the main contact from the kicks as well. So didn't help his chances in there. But otherwise, Conor looked great in shape. His hands looked excellent.
His boxing was great.
His boxing was great. He didn't have to. Well, his wrestling wasn't too bad. Dustin took him down. He worked his way to the cage very, very quickly. Got back up, separated, and hey, they were back in the stand up. So you can see that he trained and he was improved on that. Probably not beating Khabib, of course. Probably don't want to fight Chandler as a former NCAA Div 1 wrestler.
Does he take an exhibition boxing fight next, Conor, do you think?
Great question, and we'll get to
Jake Paul.
Get to Jake Paul and all that chat. He wants to be competitive, so I think that's probably one of the biggest losses from the UFC in 2020 was the fact they couldn't get McGregor to fight 3 or 4 times, which he wanted to do. He fought once.
Do you reckon this lights the fire in him?
I think so, and I think this is the right division for him. Lightweight makes sense. I don't think he can get down a further division. You sneak through the back there, Macca.
Yeah.
Books down. If you're looking for a toilet, second door on your right. In my house. It's for McGregor. I think he wants to fight 3 more times this year. If he can pull that off. So there's definitely matchups there.
The UFC would love that.
I think the UFC loves that, but lightweight, there's the murderer's row. Like, if you take those 3 guys out we just mentioned before, who does he fight? You got Tony Ferguson there. It's like, whoa, you don't want to fight Tony Ferguson. And then, maybe a fight against Dan Hooker makes sense, but Dan's like not a big name, so it doesn't sell.
It doesn't.
So Conor's in that.
So if we go through the rankings, so Khabib's obviously champ for the moment. Then we've got number 1's Poirier. Number
So
2's
they moved him up.
Gagey. Slides down 1.
That has to be the fight.
It makes sense.
That's has to be the next fight. So number 3 is Oliveira.
I didn't know
There we go.
Yeah. And then Michael Chandler comes in at number 4 now. And then after him's Ferguson. Then we've got McGregor at 6. Dos Anjos at 7. And then Dan Hooker rounds out the 8.
That's one of the most stacked divisions in the UFC.
I think lightweight is probably the most stacked. It's got the biggest name fighter in the lot in Conor there, but
Khabib.
Well, Khabib is probably
Obviously
your most
vacated, retired.
Yes, but you're like most dominant champ there. So it's such a stacked division.
Yeah, you've also got Felder in there, Kevin Lee.
Yep.
Stacked.
But again, not really, at least for McGregor's sake, nothing enticing enough of a fight.
Yeah,
money-wise, I guess.
If you take it at this, I think a Conor-Dan Hooker fight was pretty interesting, matchup-wise, and both coming off losses, both kind of in the same sort of bracket now, rankings-wise. But, that's probably a co-main, and I think Conor does want to be the co-main already. So, yeah.
Bit of Brett Lee vibes about Dan Hooker, just looking at that photo.
Yeah.
I'm getting a bit of a finger.
I can definitely get around that. Dan Hooker,
the extent of my UFC input on this one.
Kiwi, of course, so across the ditch.
Dan Hooker.
Dan Hooker.
Din.
So
there you go. That's a good rap.
Whittaker Costa?
Yes. So a few fights announced in the last couple of days. So Whittaker versus Costa is in April.
Is that going to be a Fight Island one, or they don't know just yet?
It's either there or Apex Center in Las Vegas. That's the only 2 places they're doing fights at the moment. So I don't think it's go down far enough. So Stipe versus
Stipe's still going.
Yeah, Stipe versus Ngannou is another big fight they've got
that
announced.
Is sick. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. There's also Israel's fighting is it Blackler Witch?
Blachowicz.
Nah,
I don't know if that's even right, but it's close.
Jan we'll go with Jan.
I remember we got it wrong last time.
For
Blachowicz.
Yeah, there we go. For the lightweight title. So Israel, of course, is coming up. Whether
that's big for Izzy because
Yes.
Jan is a big human being.
He's a big
And
lightweight.
Izzy-
And he's got power, but
Yeah, big light heavyweight, and Izzy sometimes looks skinny at middleweight.
Yeah.
Like obviously, with Costa saying, he's skinny and this and that.
yeah. But they've kind of. I think it's very much he's trying to entice John Jones. John's of course going up to heavyweight, so he's not going to get.
Who's Jones fighting?
I don't think they've got anyone for him yet because they're thinking maybe he gets straight in there a title fight, but then maybe he gets one beforehand. But nearly all the guys, so Overeem versus Volkov. They're like 5 and 6. Blades and Lewis are up in that.
That's 2 and 4.
There you go, the top 5. So they, everyone's kind of booked at the moment.
Yeah. Speaking of John Jones, you see some kids rocked up at his place and rang the doorbell, and he's got security everywhere, like cameras everywhere. And he answers, and they go, "John, who do you think wins tonight, Connor or Dustin?" And he went out and had a chat with them, signed some autographs and shit. They're only young kids, 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
And the card. The next person that tries that's getting the head kicked in, I reckon.
Well, I think
if they're not children.
I think he did post something like, don't normally like unwelcome visitors, but always got time with the kids, something like that. Pretty classy.
He's hard to hate. Everything about him you should hate. But
all the controversial stuff that's gone on and all the
controversy.
out of the octagon stuff. I love John Jones. Bones Jones.
So the other championship fight we probably should mention is Usman versus Gilbert Burns. Run back the fight they missed out on because Burns got COVID and Masvidal came in and fought him. So another pretty stacked. They've finally kind of announced the next 3 to 4 months worth of fights in the UFC, and there's some really great fights coming on. And I think that back to where we started, the Whittaker versus Costa fight, that's a huge fight for Whittaker. I'm a little bit concerned. Costa, of course, coming off the loss against Israel, but with with Whittaker's chin being a little bit suspect, he has been getting hit and being wobbled. He's still been winning, but some of those fights he gets touched up, and you get a little bit worried that maybe it's not going to work.
Someone with a bit more power, but quicker actually drops him.
Yes, and someone like Costa who has unreal power, you'd worry about that happening.
The bodybuilder fighter.
Yes. Does he pass the sniff test? Not sure yet.
Don't know, you've been sniffing recently.
So I think that wraps up our UFC news.
Yes.
What's
going on in the world of exhibition fighting?
Exhibition fighting. So Big Thor, the Mountain himself, had his first boxing match against Steve Ward, I think was his actual name. So
the bodybuilder.
Yes. So the strong man. Let's go.
Strong man, I should
say.
The
Mountain. So Thor the Mountain versus Steve Ward. Ward's actually a cruiserweight.
What?
So I think they had some kind of crossing in.
It's like Hulk Hogan and Rocky when they do that.
Mark, see if you can find some pictures from this. And I've watched the full fight. It went 3 rounds.
Any good?
The Mountain better than you'd think, considering his knees and how much size he has. Had some decent back and forth movement.
How would you knock that bloke out?
He couldn't.
You physically, what do you do?
It seems physically impossible.
See, I think the full fight's on YouTube. See if you can find it, James, and bring it up. But
he's like 6'9" for one.
Yes. He was 400 pounds. I think he was 360 odd for this. Like
he got the deadlift record ever last year.
But
that video itself is terrifying.
He got a bit touched up in this. So
really,
well, he's fighting a professional boxer. So you see, we scroll down a little bit.
Steve the Quiet Man Ward.
Yeah,
is that Ward there in the black?
So I think yes. So they crossed over. They crossed over a bit, I think, in training and sparring, and they.
Oh my god!
Like half a foot taller.
He's so much bigger. Like the actual in the fight, he's way bigger than him. Anyway, the Mountain was doing. I think he lost a bit of his technique in the 3rd round. He was throwing these hooks from from his waist and going sideways. Like they were pretty bad. So I think once he learns to straighten it up a bit, of course he's preparing for his Eddie Hall fight at the end of the year.
That's who I was thinking of. Apologies, man. Yeah, Eddie Hall fight.
Yeah, so that's coming up, but this is him preparing for it. So, yeah, he showed some pretty good motion considering he's had a bad knee injuries, which you'd expect from a bloke his size.
Walking around
strong
400 pounds.
Yeah, lifting twice that. It wasn't too bad. It's not funny to watch, but it's interesting to watch.
Yep.
I'm not looking forward to the full Eddie Hall Thor fight. Like, I'm not sure how that's going to go down.
It's a real slobber knocker.
At least the mountain showed he has a chin. He did get tagged in this a fair bit. I don't think he landed anything really significant. He knocked over Ward, but he hit him on the back. On his back shoulder, Ward had turned. They hit him on the shoulder, and just the force of it just knocked him.
Pushed him.
He pushed him on the ground. So there's power there. He just needs to use his power and just land it. So see how he does it against Eddie Horn. Yeah. That's probably enough chat about that fight. See if you can
more airtime.
just go to YouTube and see if you can find it. And while we kind of talk about it's the last 30-minute scroll. You skip through it.
What was this even on?
It's just I don't know, some no-name kind of promotions. Yeah, you're in the fight now, but just let it roll.
So the mountain was
a nice haircut.
almost 60 kilos heavier than.
Yeah, that's great.
60 kilos. How many weight divisions?
Yeah, I told you he was
all of them.
He was that's the end. He was cruiserweight. Go back about 10 minutes. No, it's too far.
Oh god,
that'll be the walkout. Yeah, somewhere in there. That'll do.
I can't imagine there's much pace to this one.
No. Award very much ring control going around.
Gloves up. He would need to have his gloves up. Have your
Look how much
gloves at,
bigger
like,
he's
chest
done
height.
So big, dude. Have you seen?
This is good radio. This.
We're looking at Man Mountain throwing hooks from the waist, 180 degrees.
He looks like two. He looks like two of those Ward.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he probably is. Cruiserweights were like 180. He'd be pretty close to.
Well, three. He was 350. So
pounds,
close to it. All right, the mountain walks in here. How do you reckon we could take him in this confined space? The four of us in this confined space.
I think 4 of us go through that window and he drinks it.
He takes the Esky with him and goes.
Yeah. And roots our missus.
I'm sure he's a lovely bloke. I do know his two brothers, I think, are actually bigger than him. So
What?
Yeah, there is that too.
Really?
How is that possible?
Oh, yeah.
What's it with Iceland?
It's that fucking blood, bro.
They produce some huge humans.
Oh, definitely.
Like some really huge humans.
This is sloppy.
Yeah, it's not a great boxing match. It's very sloppy.
It also looks like Ward's not wearing shoes. He's got the tube sock treatment going on.
Oh, yeah.
But you can see he keeps his range. He works it around.
He's a boxer.
He's a boxer. Like, he tags the mountain up when he throws very loose, like big hooks, which I think maybe he frustrated the mountain a little bit because he then just follows it up, like he rushes in, he blitzes in. So yeah.
Oh my
did you
God.
find the brothers? Did you?
I don't know. I don't know how big are, but they look.
This is his father and grandfather, and
that's his granddad.
His father is taller than him.
So the one below that, that's his two brothers.
That guy's going to be 8 foot tall.
So they'll both be over 7 foot.
That is ridiculous.
Oh my God.
So they make the mountain look
literal
short.
giants in Iceland.
Yeah.
So he's 6'9". That guy is easily.
He's a head taller than him.
He's 6 inches easily tall. He's 7'3". Easy.
Can we? Can you just go to the one on the left of that one, please, Jim? Just of the current one. No, the left. Just get that one there. Yeah. This poor girl. Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's his missus as well. So.
That is his missus.
Because there's a picture of them down under that.
Yeah, right.
Oh, she is tiny. That poor thing.
Yeah. it's just like Shaq and his missus. Like,
Good on her, hey?
Big man.
Yeah, good on her. Good on her. Good luck to her.
Anyway, I think we've covered the mountain enough. Let's finish up with the boxing with Jake Paul. So back to McGregor. McGregor was
the biggest name in fighting apparently these days.
So McGregor was Jake Paul was angling for a McGregor fight, offered him 50 mil, brought his wife into it. Had, I think, 4 fighters he was trying to negotiate with, but Ben Askren, the only one to sign on the dotted line. Very interesting, long-term mixed martial artist. great wrestler,
Yeah.
but of course signs on the dotted line for a boxing fight. So
Who was it that put Askren absolutely to sleep last time he was out in the UFC?
Masvidal.
George Masvidal
Masvidal.
with a flying knee, which you can't do in boxing. So Jake, I think, came out already and says, "I'm going to knock you out faster than Masvidal did," and I was like, "Well, you can't throw a knee," but we
That was
just
that
see.
one in like the first 10 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
great. That was the shadow realm. That
Yes.
was them put him in there.
So
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing Jake Paul getting a knee to the face though.
Yeah.
So
I think for all the
take the DQ.
I think Ben
for all of us.
Ben Askren, for all the dads out there, just needs to slap him up a bit, knock some sense into him,
I hope he does.
show us what he's all about.
Did you see Jake Paul on socials after Conor got dropped?
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
like, I'll change
give
my
you
offer
10K.
to 10K.
Oh, he's so grim. But then, like, this is a fighting game. Like, Conor's just got to cop it. You're now a meme.
Yeah.
If you're knocked out, you're now a meme.
Yeah.
So you just have to wear it.
Yeah.
And to his
having
credit, he
it.
actually wore it
Yeah.
pretty well. But, like, it's so cringe.
It's cringy, isn't it?
And,
He's the biggest shit talker in the world, possibly.
yeah, but, you know, he's fought twice and won twice.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just-
true.
yeah.
Can't
Logan-
argue with the credentials.
Logan Paul's fighting Floyd Mayweather. Is that a real thing?
Yep.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
Yes,
when
that's-
is that?
Yeah,
by
when
the
is
way?
that happening?
that's
Oh.
happening. That wasn't.
Yeah,
that's
happening.
really
Yeah,
a thing.
There's so much money.
That is the most
It'll be
millennial
I think it'll be boring.
2021.
I think it'd be boring because Mayweather doesn't knock guys out his own size.
No, and if he wanted to,
He's
I
a-
feel he could. But
But he's a boxer. He's a boxer. He's just, I don't think Paul touches him.
Yeah.
And I don't think Mayweather has, this is speculative, has the power to knock him out.
but if you punch a guy in the head 130 times, then I think he's going to go
True.
down.
Maybe.
The
Maybe.
Logan might get the Max Holloway treatment in this. Like
Yeah.
the most significant strikes in a boxing match. Like, if he really
I'll
wants
say
to.
right now, Logan was impressive in that Nate in that. Who did he have?
Jake beat
Jake
Nate
dropped
Robinson.
Nate Robinson.
Jake.
Yeah.
I heard Logan.
Logan only fought
He
KSI
lost to that
twice.
That's right,
that
that
Tommy.
fucking
But that
YouTuber.
actually, that was two fairly similar blokes having a hack at it. Like,
Yeah,
but this
similar
is
sort of build, similar sort of background, and
But there's no chance that he lands a sweet one on Mayweather.
No.
The
the
best
dude that's
boxer of all
50 and
time.
0. Like,
Like,
like it's just like the fact it's getting airtime is.
Yeah.
I
and
don't
us
like
morons
it,
are
but
talking about it.
yeah, like they've gotten what they wanted. Like if Logan Paul gets knocked out, then he makes videos about it and laughs about it himself.
yeah.
Yeah.
And makes
If
a
he-
shit ton of money.
Yeah, like if they're making it.
Hey, I hope you guys had a light bulb moment on the Esky. Let's start calling out some fighters.
I got my boy Pepsi here. He's been calling out Jake Paul for an hour. You a real bitch, Jake.
That's it.
John Jones, where you at? John Jones, where you at?
Hey, you can wear one kick to the head, Peps. I reckon you got it in you.
Perhaps you're
Think of the
6'6".
money you can make.
You have to fight heavyweights, bro. So
Right now, dude.
Not women though. Let's keep it.
we'll have to find some big heavyweight YouTubers for you to box. Anyway,
Yeah, love or hate it, we're talking about it. So.
let's finish up with that.